This week on NWP.
Let's talk about no one. Please talk about no one. Someone in you and me have a disease. You affect me. You infect me. I'm afflicted. You're addicted. You and me. You and me. I'm on the edge.
Hello everyone and welcome to Nerds Without Pants, episode 21. Yay, we're old enough to drink. I am Julian, and I'm joined as always by Patrick.
What's up, brothers and sisters?
And, yes, that's good, Patrick, bring that energy, because you're going to have to hold up this podcast this week, because I'm not at 100%, I'm not even at like 60%.
Woo! I gotta do a line. Hold on.
Well, that was Rob's territory.
Yeah, I was like, I should have said this months ago.
Do one for our fallen brethren.
Yeah, it's not true though. I wouldn't ever. I shouldn't say that because who knows what's gonna happen. But
Right, if you go to one of those sex and coke parties that are so popular.
yeah, I mean, if I see Lindsay Lohan, I don't know.
Well, yeah, I mean, she just like leaves a trail of it behind her. It's sort of like pixie dust.
It comes off her behind.
Along with all those freckles.
Whoa.
Anyway, we don't really have anything planned for this episode, guys. Basically, I kind of, I'm spent after our exhaustive 90s episode, which I'm very proud of, but that was a lot of work, and I figured I would, kind of take an episode, not off, because I don't want to just like skip a week, but just kind of do a laid back episode. We were going to try to get a guest on the show, but that fell through, so we're just going to kind of wing it.
Yeah, we kind of had a double episode though, so I hope you guys enjoyed it. It seemed like you did from all the comments and stuff, so thank you.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun to put together. I obsessed about it like that entire week. I was actually putting the music medleys together like even before we started recording, and then spent the rest of the week just like refining it and re-refining it and obsessing over every little bit and adding little post effects and stuff like that. So,
didn't you do so well, guys? Thank him.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I'll just bow. But, this episode isn't about me inflating my own ego. This episode is about stuff that we consume in media, and we're going to take it on over to Consumption Junction, which I'm hoping to try to get like a special little jingle done for the show. We'll see how that works. I pitched it, and I'm just going to need to find out how much it's going to run me and if it's doable. So I'm looking forward to that. But, Patrick, it's been a couple weeks. What have you been up to?
Yeah, I've been up to a lot of reading and, writing and stuff like that. A little bit of gaming. I'll start off there, but I finally got the chance to pick up the Walking Dead game because it was only $10 on the PlayStation Plus deal of the week.
For all 5 eepisodes?
Yeah, for all 5.
Wow.
That's what I was waiting for. I think they did it one other time when it was like 12, but this one it was like 10.49 or something. I was like, dang, I cannot pass this up. So I beat the first 2 episodes of that. I was pleased, like you said, about the plot. But, I mean, this processor I know it can handle this game and it shouldn't be bugging out and just like freezing for a couple seconds every minute or so. It just totally takes you out of the game, and I never like really felt that way with the game before. And I was just like, this isn't like pushing the limits of the system that hard, is it? I guess there's a lot of different options, like based on what you choose to respond with, but that still shouldn't hiccup as much as it does. I think like a lot of the reason that it loads is because there's 4 different ways to do everything, and like if you pick a different weapon, it has to render it in a different way at a certain point in the end of episode 2. If you choose to kill somebody, he won't come back in the next scene, and then there has to be another scene. But like, there's like 8 different processors. Can't one be like processing what choice you make and another be processing the possibilities? So it like branches off into one of the other processors. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it depends on how they coded it. I know it's been a while since I played it on Xbox. I don't remember having those type of issues. I had plenty of other issues, which are I've talked about before. But, and I know you didn't get to finish it, but the second game in that series that I'm not allowed to talk about on the podcast anymore, all of your decisions have culminated in this final push towards like your final, like, fly-in your ship. And the game is chugging, like, really, really badly at that point, because it's basically calculating all the stuff that you've done, because, like, literally you warp in, and then you can lose a character right there if you didn't do X. And so there's, like, probably, like, 6 or 7 things that happen in rapid succession, but it's a pre-rendered cutscene, but, not pre-rendered, it's using in-game assets. But because of all these decisions that are going on, you can tell that it's kind of like, it stutters a little bit and then it loads what is supposed to happen for your choices. So it might be that, but at the same time, like, I know on Walking Dead, like, not nearly as much stuff is going on. I'm just wondering if maybe it's a PS3 optimization problem, cause that has happened before.
Yeah, not in a couple of years, but I guess it's possible.
Yeah, I mean, and Telltale's a smaller, company, and I do think that they probably overextended themselves on the programming of that game. I mean, like I've said before, and I said it on, Backloggers, Anonymous for Enslaved, that, I think the game part of that video game is really bad. But I think all the other stuff around it is really great. So,
yeah, even just walking around seems kind of clunky, doesn't it?
Oh, it's terrible. Yeah, it's awful. I think that it should have probably just been a traditional point and click instead of having direct control over your character, because I just don't feel like he's doing what I want him to do at any given time.
Totally. I think they just should have stuck to their guns.
Yeah. Cause I think, and I haven't played their other stuff that came out on console, but I want to say that this might have been their first game where you actually have direct control the whole time, instead of actually moving a cursor on the screen. And maybe they just need to, now they've made all this bank with Walking Dead, maybe Walking Dead Season 2, they can actually go back and refine that part of the design. Cause, yeah. I think this might have been like a, kind of a work in progress for them.
I sure hope so. Like, it's gotta get better.
Yeah.
But, so I played that, and we can maybe talk a little bit more about the decisions when you are even more separated from the bugging that happened at the end of episode 2. But, I also played a couple of Sega games from the Ultimate Collection. I'm still like waiting my time through like Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, Golden Axe, and I'm still trying to beat it. Apparently I'm not as good as you, Julian.
we mentioned that, or we were talking about that briefly before the show. I'm kind of a Golden Axe master for the first game anyway.
But, beside that, I barely have played anything else. I mean, each episode of The Walking Dead takes like 2 to 3 hours. So I guess that's sort of a lot. There's a bunch of finales of shows that I watched too, like, Shameless, Californication, and House of Lies. That was pretty sweet.
I only watched the first 2 seasons of Californication, cause that was back when I had, or I think it was on Netflix streaming at the time, but it's not anymore. Or maybe I just got them on disc. Is it worth continuing? Cause I really liked what I saw.
Oh yeah, I think actually the 3rd season is maybe my favorite, because RZA from Wu-Tang Clan is like a main character, and he's crazy, and he's awesome. And he like, fight? Yeah, he takes it all to another level, and he like brings guns to a set, and like, yeah, I can't really give it away, but it's definitely, it takes things to a higher level. And then the 4th season, there's like guest stars such as Marilyn Manson.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it's getting pretty big, and like Marilyn Manson acts exactly like you think he would. He tries to get Hank's kid to do drugs and teabags another movie star.
Oh.
Yeah, it's hilarious. I mean, and then like the little girl's growing up before our eyes, and she's starting to do drugs and stuff and trying to be like her own writer. And Hank's trying to like be a father, but a constructive criticist as well. So there's a lot of different tensions there. I don't like it as much as Shameless, maybe, even though I probably should, just because they don't like go through the process of writing that much. They talk about the effects of writing in Californication more than they actually talk about like the struggle and like the art of it.
Right.
I mean, it's more about Hank screwing a bunch of hot girls.
Yeah. I got into it right around the time that I'd finished Alan Wake. So I was getting kind of that, just inundated with like the struggle of the tortured author. And I was really digging that part of it.
Okay, I see. There's a definite motif going on there.
Yeah, definitely.
But then the Shameless finale, like, they always like seem to outdo themselves during the finales. And it's like if you don't know, it's a story about like low income housing in the south side of Chicago. And I live like near there, not quite in the low income housing that they're talking about. They're like kind of like white trash. Like,
okay, now I know the one you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah, William H. Macy is like a derelict father who's like an alcoholic and in and out of the house. Sometimes he's homeless, sometimes he's not. And like in the third season, he's such an alcoholic that he like at one point even pukes blood. Like, and it's disgusting. I was like, I couldn't even believe it happened. It's just a little thing, but like, it's like right on an ice rink that I know I've like been on, and it's like, whoa, that happened there too. And then he's like hospitalized and stuff. It's just like, it's disgusting. There's no character in there that has had a good life. They all make poor choices, and it all comes back to haunt every one of them. And it's just like good to see how karma can go wrong, because then you want to make the right choices in life. But I mean, it sort of does glorify like lower class people, and to an extent that's nice, because some people can't help the fact that they're there. Like I'm in the middle class, and I can't help the fact that I'm not in the upper class really yet. I mean, I'm working my way there, but a lot of it is just who you know, and that's kind of what you see there too. So right. It's sort of sad, and it's just like you feel for these characters after so long.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check it out, because it has the delectable Emmy Rossum.
Oh yeah, she's great.
If they are going to make a movie based on that piece of literary garbage, 50 Shades of Grey, she's my choice for Anastasia, because she just fits that role very well. If you like her,
you can see her boobs.
That's what I hear, yes. And I'm all for that.
Yeah, they are, right?
I was gonna say, like going back to Californication, like it still blows my mind that, like in the first season, you see, the little girl from The Nanny, because I watched The Nanny, you know, religiously when it was on the air, and it's like, whoa, that's a really weird moment right there.
Yeah, that's true. Is she the one with the really big boobs?
No.
Oh, dang.
She's the one that punches him in the face.
While they're having sex?
Yeah.
Wait, those are huge.
Well, I guess our definition of huge are different.
And for her size.
I'd say that's perfectly proportioned for her frame.
I mean, that's how I would hope they would all be, but like, yeah. If you guys don't know, she like, fucked him and punched him, and then Hank wrote a book called Fucking and Punching.
Which she then stole, yeah. That's as far as I got.
Yeah, and that's when they actually are talking about the process of writing a little bit more than they do for about a season after that. And then they get back into it a little bit. And then they kind of go on the road with a rock star, and it all goes in crazy directions. But it's its own show, you know? Yeah. So I did all of that, and in the process, got myself in a fantasy baseball league. So I've been trying to figure that out, because I'm not winning, but I'm scoring a lot. And while I was watching all these things, I was reading some more comics, and some quick thoughts about those, I guess, were definitely to check out Mind the Gap. I got through issue 4 now, and pretty much just on the recommendation of the title and working with someone who knows the lead writer. It's really cool how he like talks to you at the end of it, or about like a couple of panels, or about some secrets that you might not have noticed. And as you get more into it, it gets more supernatural. And as you also get more into it, you feel like it's more, expected. Like in the first issue, you might think that it's just going to be like very modern, but it's actually sort of surreal in a lot of ways. And it's cool to see like how McCann thinks of a coma. Like, have you ever thought about what it would be like to be in a coma? Because that's kind of what this book is. Then also read up to issue 7 in Superior Spider-Man came out. I mean, now all of a sudden they bring in this B-list villain who's also going to get beaten down by Spider-Man. It's just like, I don't know where he's going with this right now. It's kind of why I like it, but it's also kind of why like Spider-Man is losing his popularity in my mind.
Yeah, I think, cause I remember reading previews and like, I think it's probably in the next issue or two where, you know, it's Superior Spider-Man no more because I think Peter Parker's coming back, and it's like, okay, well then you guys really didn't have to end, you know, Amazing Spider-Man at 700 issues and then relaunch the book. Because this is just a storyline like any other storyline.
In the end, it might, like, if they, like, really do create lasting effects for this, it'll be that he's like a Jekyll and Hyde sort of character in his brain, like two brain parts battling it out. Because in this issue, Peter Parker actually feels his body a little bit. And I don't know how that happens, but like he actually moves his arm and draws something. It's like, what the hell was this whole thing for?
Right, yeah. Well, that would be pretty cool, is if they could actually make that like a thing that goes on for like the next 5 to 10 years where, you know, Spider-Man is basically like two people in the same body. That would actually be a pretty interesting development, but I just don't think Marvel has it in them to commit to something like that.
But if you think about it, there's no other Marvel or DC character who's like dual or like bipolar, right?
Yeah, not that I can think of. Well, Two-Face.
No A-list.
Yeah. No heroes for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Just villains. I mean, and schizophrenia is pretty cool, isn't it? Huh?
I would like to see it explored more often, especially in video games. I think it's an untapped potential for some really compelling narrative.
Yeah, I can only think of like, I think Killer 7 does something near that, but like, I think you're right, because games can change just based on your state of mind. It doesn't have to change based on like level progression. I mean, we see that in Nicki Minaj's rapping, you know, she's schizophrenic and she changes styles all the time. It works.
That woman terrifies me.
Yeah, Barbie's got problems.
I've never heard any of her music. I'll look at her face and her eyes and I'm transfixed for a little bit. I have this problem with, people that their eyes are like way wider than they should be. I don't know if I've mentioned this on the show before, but it really bothers me because I keep wanting them to blink. And like, I can't change the channel until I see them blink. So that's why, like, yesterday on Spike TV, they had a marathon of, Bar Rescue. Have you ever seen Bar Rescue?
No.
Oh my goodness. Just look up the host of Bar Rescue. Or look for a clip more likely, because if you see a picture of him where he's posing, he doesn't do it. But when he's just talking in conversation, his eyes are like the size of golf balls. And he doesn't blink, and it's so terrifying to me. And so I'm watching for like 5 minutes just waiting. Waiting
yeah,
for him
I
to
see
blink.
this guy. Oh man, I see him like pointing up at the sky and he's like looking at somebody and his eyes are bugging out.
Oh man, it's all the time, dude. It's that might be the cover picture for this podcast.
I would not want that guy to look at me. I don't know how he's on TV.
Yeah, well, I guess he's a guru when it comes to managing bar establishments and stuff like that.
He must scare people into like getting deals.
Yeah, he's very intimidating.
I got one more recommendation though. So that's like, I guess you could say Mind the Gap, Pull It, Superior Spider-Man, Hold It, and Detective Comics. Buy it and read it multiple times.
Really? The
Yeah.
new, didn't they switch, did they get a new creative team recently?
It's John Layman and Jason Fabok.
Okay, cause I quit Detective after, issue 6, I believe.
Really? I got all 19 so far, and 19 is awesome. It's actually the 1,000th detective comic.
Wow.
So, yeah. And they're doing this. They did this thing called like, what is the 900? And the 900 is like the block where it all started, you know.
Uh-huh.
And so they delve deep into the different people who are in the 900 block now, and like how they're being affected by a man-bat serum. And I don't want to give away any more, but like there's another one of Batman's better villains who's coming out finally in the new Detective Comics. And then even after it's over, it's a 90 or 80 page spectacular, and they have a bunch of follow-up stories, like little other stories that brought like 3 more villains to the forefront in this new detective launch. So there's like a Bane story, there's a Emperor Penguin story, there's a story that Mr. Combustible has, and I've never really read a story with him at the front of it.
Never even heard of him.
You don't know of him?
No, I've never heard of that guy.
Oh man, he's a cool looking cat. He doesn't have any eyes or anything. I don't even know how he talks, but you should definitely check him out. He wears like tuxes and a top hat, kind of like Penguin, so I can see how they would get along.
Oh, wait. Wait. I think he was in Batgirl.
Yeah? Maybe.
Because she went through like a ton of new villains in the New 52. Some of them were really awesome and some of them were kind of forgettable. My favorite one so far was Mirror, which was her first villain. But I want to say that she fought somebody like that.
Yeah. He's blue, got a bluish aura around him, and he has like his own henchmen who like are wearing gas masks in this follow-up issue to like when the serum gets released into the city, and it's like it's spreading through the air, so it's like really toxic. I don't want to say what happens, but he's one bad mofo.
That's what I've liked so far about the Batman universe for the New 52 is that they've been making strides to try to introduce some new villains, because as much as I love the Batman Rogues Gallery, like, he needs to have some newer enemies, because really, like, Bane is like his most recent, like, really big addition. And that was, 93. So he needs some more major players to go up against.
Yeah, when they originally like showed Hush, I thought that was an awesome new villain, but then they just turned it into Jason Todd, so.
Yeah. Or Clayface, because there was like a couple different versions of him.
Right. Then there's like this new actual Man-Bat guy. Like there's the serum, the Man-Bat serum, and then there's actual Man-Bat. So he's like a life-size bat, or a man-sized bat, basically, and he sort of has some personality left in him, but he can't really help a lot of the things he's doing. Not sure how that's gonna pan out, but he like kind of turns back, or it panels between him and this guy who's in the hospital. And these guys in the hospital are talking about how like Batman makes them look bad as cops and stuff like that, and how they want him gone from the city. And you don't really get that perspective on just like the normal 22-page comic either. So it was nice to have that like follow-up mini story, because you saw the sort of stereotypical cop, and you saw like the new age female cop, and you saw the mid 30s in his stride cop down on his luck, and they were all like different perspectives on like how they felt about Batman. So,
kind of reminds me of Gotham Central, which was a really great series probably about 8 or 9 years ago, which was basically focused on the GCPD and how they how they dealt with the fact that not only do they have to deal with regular crime, but they have to deal with people like Mr. Freeze, and then of course they had all the credit goes to this guy in a costume.
Yep. Yeah, it's definitely like that. I was thinking about you because you said that the GCPD was awesome, but I think they canceled it recently.
It's been gone for a while, yeah.
Yeah, so I didn't get to pick that up when you last recommended it to me. The other new villain that you would really like is Emperor Penguin. I think he's what the Penguin probably should have been. He's gonna be cooler than Penguin.
Well, what I'm really looking forward to is, I think the next big story arc from, Scott Snyder is going to be, Riddler. His take on the Riddler for Batman. So I'm excited for that because, I didn't really realize this until I started reading Batman, back in around 2000 or so. But Riddler in the comic books has been a joke for many, many, many years. Like, he's been like a C-lister. Where, if, for outside people, people who were watching, like, the 60s Batman show, or the animated series, or the movies, Riddler was like a major player.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of the comic book, he'd always been just this has-been. So I'm looking forward to seeing what Scott Snyder does with, this C-lister in the Rogues Gallery.
I think the best he's ever been used is in Arkham City when you get to go around and, like, try to solve all of his riddles. But, like, besides that, I can't think of a good story that I've read in the Batman comics since I've been reading him.
Yeah, in the comics, not so much. I really loved his incarnation in the animated series. I loved the suit and the bowler hat, and he was just so suave. I really loved him in that. I love that character design, too. I wish that if they had done him again in the movies, that's what I wanted him to look like.
Speaking of C-listers, they just, like, wrote the origins of the Mad Hatter in the Dark Knight series. That was painful to see because it's like he doesn't have testosterone and he goes back to the person who he thinks of as Alice, who had the name Alice when he was younger and, like, went into high school and they were, like, best friends, and then she never liked him in high school because he didn't grow.
Oh.
Yeah, and that, like, made him start to take all these extra drugs to try to grow a little bit or, like, gain some strength back and stuff. It's just, like, it's sad to see the human side of the villain sometimes.
I was listening to NPR the other night, and they were talking about, the author of Peter Pan. Like, apparently, and this is really effed up, but his older brother died, like, really, really early on. And he was like obviously the favorite son, and his mother, like, kind of had a breakdown. And, basically, from that point on, she was just telling, the other son, oh, why did it have to be you that lived? Why couldn't it have been the other one? But she was also, like, at least saying, like, well, at least you'll never leave me, you'll never grow old. And apparently when children go through, like, really high levels of stress and stuff like that, it inhibits their growth. So he actually didn't go through puberty. Like, he stayed this, like, pseudo boy man, like, his whole lifetime. He never left the house. He never, he never moved out of the house. Apparently he was married, but he never consummated the marriage. And that's where the inspiration for Peter Pan came from. But, man, talk about, like, potential supervillain origin stories. So.
But the writer did base, like, the Peter character on another person in real life, right? Named Peter, I think.
I think it might have been kind of based on his brother, but also his personal experience, with the whole not growing up.
Okay, I'm like a little hazy on it, but I heard there's, like, this new movie. It might even be with Judi Dench in it. I don't know why I'm thinking of her right now. Maybe that's just, like, a Freudian slip. But it's, like, about this one day in the life where the inspiration for Peter Pan and the inspiration for Alice Liddell, meet each other and what happened. And I guess it did happen one day, but I'm not sure what happened.
And there was that Finding Neverland movie with Johnny Depp.
Yeah,
but they didn't address, what I had heard on this show. And, it also might have been, fact mixed with legend,
Yeah, it wasn't exactly the right place in Finding Neverland, though. Finding Neverland's bittersweet, and that just sounds bitter.
Right, yeah. Maybe they couldn't market a movie that big of a downer.
Yeah, this is how bad your mother can be.
No wire hangers and all that.
So, I mean, that about does it for comics for me. Then I was just reading previews, and I saw some cool stuff that is coming out soon. Did I tell you about the new ongoing series, the 1% and the 99%?
I think I noticed it, and I kind of shook my head at it just because it seemed like kind of pandering to what's been going on in the last couple years.
Dude,
But
I think it might be a great social commentary, though. We don't have enough of those in comics.
that's true.
So I think that's coming out next month. And there's like two different ongoings. One's called the Green Team, and the other's called the Movement. I'd like to see both sides of that because it's, not playing favorites. At least it doesn't seem like it is. We'll see.
Yeah. If I ever get a chance to play BioShock again, I'll be interested because I know that game explores some of that stuff, but I literally have not played 1 minute of BioShock since our last episode.
I didn't realize that, but I did see that I have to go up and get it at some point because our review on PixlBit is like so glowing.
Oh, everybody's is, yeah. I think at this point, if you start seeing negative reviews, it's just gonna be that inevitable backlash of when so many people love something that somebody has to hate on it. Like I really think that's what it's gonna boil down to.
I never trust that, and like I never trusted that with Prometheus either, which I got to see over these last 2 weeks. Almost forgot to talk about that, but I thought it was like as good as the first Alien movie, if not better. But I knew that it wasn't really going to be about the aliens. So going into it, I didn't have that expectation. To my dad and myself, it felt more like 2001: A Space Odyssey than like any of the other Alien movies had, and that's like what I compare good sci-fi movies to, because for me, 2001 is about the best you can get. I mean, there's like this unknown sort of rebellious technology that man has created, and they don't know that it has a mind of its own and can feel fear and despair and stuff like that. They don't know that it'll backlash against them, but like it inevitably does learn these things from the years and years it has of like going through all the different things that it means to be human. Even though they're programmed to just be happy, like they're also programmed to to be curious. So it's fun to see Michael Fassbender in that role because he's such a great actor in pretty much everything I've seen him in.
Yeah, he's pretty amazing. It's funny because going into that movie, I also knew that, not to expect an Alien movie, but then I was confused even more when I sat down and it was an Alien movie. Like, there's so much stuff that's still Alien that I don't understand why they didn't just keep the label and just go full on Alien. Like I don't understand, like, even down to like the H.R. Geiger, designs of the architecture and stuff like that. Like, I don't really get it. Like, I enjoyed the movie for what it was. I think, like, the tech, like the sci-fi part of it, is really great. I feel the same way about the new Total Recall.
I just saw that too. That's great.
Like, all the tech in that movie is amazing. Like, I'm like, oh wow, that's some of the best, like, new version of the future that I've seen in a while, because, we're getting to that point where it's like, we're now well into the 2000s, and so the way that we look at the future has to change, because for the longest time, the year 2000 was the future. And so all of our sci-fi was based on that, and now that's come and gone, and it's time for us to like revisit like what the future looks like to us.
And one of my favorite scenes in that was when there was the negotiator and he was trying to talk the main character out of going with Jessica Biel, trying to say that his wife was next to him. He really did have a wife. It's just cool to think about how memories can be shifted as reality shifts, and like that he had to make the decision for himself. And right after he shoots the negotiator, which isn't, that's sort of a spoiler.
It's Total Recall.
Yeah, it's Total Recall. The wife of his changes back into like this, what do you call it? I don't even know what she is. She's like a mercenary.
Yeah.
And
that was probably my only complaint about Total Recall, is that they got two lead actresses who look almost identical, and then they have them fight. It's like you both have the same build and the same color hair and the same length hair, and I don't know what's going on.
Well, Jessica Biel's boobs are a little bigger.
Yeah, but you can't tell that in fast action scenes.
Yeah, they didn't even dress him up like that. Like, I mean, they dressed him up really hot, or dressed Jessica Biel really hot in Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Why couldn't you do it in this? There's more opportunity to change clothes anyway.
Not when you're on the run.
Yeah. Well, I think Prometheus though is like, they called it Prometheus because they were trying to get across the metaphor of like giving fire to humans, you know, and like in this case, the fire was giving the alien symbiote to humans and like starting this process of degeneration or this sort of evil thing that will eat at them for years and years. Because, you know, Prometheus was the person who brought the fire from Mount Olympus.
Right.
Yeah. Well, the way I think of it is like the alien, well, this has been talked about in like film analysis. The alien itself is like the female, lack of a better term, vagina. And I was thinking of the male as whatever those weird alien looking characters were in Prometheus. So then when they mate and they make that new thing that you see at the end, that's kind of like the fire was brought to us based on sexual relations.
I mean, that's all well and good. It's just my problem is that, you know, it's an alien movie that doesn't have the aliens label on it, but everything in there is alien, so it's just this weird thing. So it's like you can't really count it as part of the series.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's just this weird thing that doesn't really, I don't know, it's this weird science fiction movie because if you just take it on its own, it's a really good science fiction movie. But then you're like, well, I've seen Alien and Aliens, so this is clearly that, but it's not. And you can't say that it ripped it off because it's from the guy who made Aliens, so.
At the end though, it's still thought provoking, which is the main thing I want to see when I watch a movie. So, I mean, I'm happy about it.
Yeah, and I didn't have a bad time.
Yeah, it's pretty tense.
Yeah. And, you know, that self-surgery scene with like the automated, surgical bed. Oh my gosh. That's a future that I don't need to see. So we'll just leave it at that, because that's something that you should just experience for yourself.
Yeah. She's like a strangely beautiful character too. I never saw her in anything before.
Oh, you haven't seen Girl with the Dragon Tattoo, the Swedish versions?
Wait, that's her?
Yeah, that's her. Or, she was also in the second Sherlock Holmes movie.
Oh, that movie's terrible.
I like that movie.
No.
I don't like it as much as the first one, but I still liked it.
Like, the second one was one of the few movies I've ever, like, stopped watching in the middle.
Oh, wow. Man, the part at the end when, he's fighting Moriarty is so good.
I don't know. It just seemed like it was joking about itself too much. Like, there's a point where you can get to be too self-deprecating for me. I mean, it doesn't happen often because I do it a lot to myself, but.
Yeah,
man,
I can never get enough self-deprecation because that's pretty much my MO.
But I've read a lot of like the actual Sherlock Holmes books. I own like every single story that he's made. Like, and there were so many good choices that they could have had, and they chose to make that story. I don't know. I guess it's because I like grew up with Sherlock Holmes. Have you read it?
I haven't read any Sherlock Holmes. It's on my to-read list, but just taken, you know, as a movie, and the fact that Robert Downey Jr. has become my favorite actor over the past like 8 or 9 years. You know, it's like I got what I wanted from that movie.
Yeah, that's why I like put it on, because I love him. But I don't know. I guess it's the different perspective that'll show you, dear listener, if you should read it or if you should watch it or not.
Although I will say that the first Sherlock Holmes movie is the best Batman movie ever made. Like, it straight up is the best Batman movie I've ever seen. Because, you know, say what you will about the Christopher Nolan movies, I think they're fine, but I don't think that they're the best representation of that character, because none of the movies have really taken into account the detective part of Batman. And I think that you basically just replace Sherlock Holmes with Bruce Wayne in that movie, and that you're done. Like, that's amazing, because he's got the fighting, he's got the detective skills, he's got the, you know, the personality. Like, yeah, that's my Batman movie.
Yeah, the fighting was good in that one, but over the top in the second one. Like, when he goes through the window and back into the bachelor party.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny, but like, yeah, just like I said, not what I want to see in Sherlock Holmes thing. You're right about that, though. Jude Law would make a good Robin.
I can see that, yeah.
He's a little tall, but like you can do different angles or something.
Yeah, I mean, take a look at Robin in Arkham City. Like, he's like completely not recognizable to any Robin ever.
Yeah.
It's like, whoa, Tim, you grew. You're a man now.
In that new Detective Comics, it's more and more apparent that that girl is going to become the new Robin too.
Harper?
Yeah.
Okay, because I heard a rumor that they were going to make the next Robin, and I've never read this, and, you know, this is probably my mark of shame. I've never read, The Dark Knight Returns, you know, Frank Miller's book, but I heard they were gonna make that the new Robin, like the girl from Dark Knight. And that seems like completely out of left field because it seemed like Harper Row is the obvious choice. And I don't know.
Huh. I mean, I read that. It was a great book, but how are they gonna tie that into his canon? I don't know.
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe there won't be a Robin for a while.
There shouldn't be. He should go Robinless for a while, but, it seems like they're hell-bent on having him team up with somebody soon.
I mean, Batman and Robin's an ongoing, so like, what are they gonna do?
Oh, you would be cool if they just like scratched out the Robin for a few months.
Batman and, or just call it and. Yeah, so that's just about does it for me for consumption. I did a little producing, but like, and if any of you guys have like stuck with me since the 1UP days, I actually read an essay like at an open mic this weekend, or like my friend's thing that it's sort of an open mic. They call it Bad News Bible Church. And it was called On Conquering the World. I posted it originally as a 1UP thing and I got a lot of comments, but it's one of the more well-received things that I've done. So thank you guys for, if you're one of those people, like Ranger Girl who comments on my stuff and helps me make it better.
Cool.
Yeah. It was fun. So, what about you, Julian? You got sick.
I got sick, yeah. I really haven't had a chance to do much since our last episode. I was really looking forward. I had taken a long weekend off. It was going to be 5 days total. Like, I took off basically Friday through Tuesday. This is day 4 of my 5-day weekend. Got off of work Thursday evening with that telltale tickling of the throat. And then hour by hour it just got progressively worse. And so Friday was down the tubes, just like, didn't do anything. Well, I did do one thing. I've been playing my old Nintendo for a side project. And, first of all, like, you know, like I talked about this before, or in a recent episode about the way that I keep my stuff. But my Nintendo is my Nintendo. It's the one that I had to work for, had to, you know, walk many, many days for, like I said on the last episode. And, pulled it out of the box, which I still have. And, you know, the system is still in its plastic bag. The instruction booklet and documentation is still in its plastic, you know, bag. You know, pulled it out, set it up. 30 seconds between pulling it out of the box and playing a game, you know, which was so nice to see. Like, it reminds you how long system startup times are now. You know, getting to the point where you can actually play a game. Cause even if your system is already on and you pop in a disc, you gotta sit through how many developer screens before you actually get into the menu. Where here it's like, turn on the system, see the copyright, press start, you're playing. Love that. You know, I was playing some games, I'm playing some stuff that I had bought but never actually played. Apparently, I own one of the rarest Nintendo games that you can get, which is Power Blade 2. Which is going for anywhere between $200 to $1,200 depending on the condition.
And what's your condition?
Mine, it's not great. The game works fine, but the label's a little messed up and I don't have the box or the book. But, I mean, I think I could still get probably a good, you know, 200 plus for it.
Wow.
But, play a little bit of that because I literally had never played the second game. I beat the first game a couple times. But, the big news for me is I popped in Gremlins 2, which is one of my favorite games for the NES from when I was a kid. Could not for the life of me beat that game as a kid. Like, I played it, I rented it and I played the hell out of it and just could not do it. That game is hella hard. Totally beat Gremlins 2 on Friday. and I felt so vindicated. I was like, and I tweeted about it. I was like, who says this reflexes erode with age? Because I was probably 11, 12 the last time I played that game. I'm 33 now, and did stuff that I just could not do, as a tween.
Nice.
So yeah, and that last level is it's not playing around. Because Gremlins 2, if you haven't played it, it's a top-down game, but it's a platform game, which is kind of rare. Usually your platform games are from the side. Mm-hmm. But here, you're actually like having to judge your jumps a little differently, and diagonally jumping is a big skill. And you get towards that last level, and it's literally like jump, 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 because everything is a trap. And there's conveyor belts that want to like kill you, or take you into the fire, or take you into an enemy. And it's all about just like this precision jumping, and also the patience to kind of hang back and kill enemies before you make those jumps. So, yeah, I was very, very proud of myself. And
did it take you a while, or did you just like are you just a natural now?
It took me a while to get back into it at the beginning, like probably stage 3 took me the longest. But, I was pretty proud of myself on stage 5. I probably had to do it maybe 6 or 7 times. Which isn't all that bad for a game that tough. So I was really happy with myself. So you can teach an old dog new tricks. But,
so when you played Power Blade, though, well, first I guess I should ask, what's the narrative in Gremlins 2?
Did you ever see the movie?
Yeah.
It takes right off of the movie. You're playing Gizmo and you're stuck in Clamp Tower, and you're trying to put an end to the Gremlins before they get out of the tower and, basically spread into New York City. And so each level is based on a location from the movie. And it does a really good job of capturing everything, and even your weapons. Your final weapon is the paperclip bow and arrow that he makes for himself when he goes all Rambo at the end of the movie. And the bosses are straight out of the movie. You fight the gremlin that got turned into electricity. You fight the Mohawk gremlin that has the machine gun. You fight the final boss is the spider gremlin hybrid, which is like the creepiest one of all. The only one that they didn't have in there was the gargoyle gremlin, or the bat gremlin rather.
Yeah.
So really good stuff.
That was you who was talking about like your favorite TV series, and that was one of them, right?
Well, I don't know if they did this TV series. I mean, Gremlins 2 is one of my favorite movies from when I was a kid. I haven't seen it in forever, but
I think Gremlins was a TV show.
Oh, then I don't remember that.
Oh, I think that was my cosplay friend.
No.
I think she was really into the TV series. It was like, it was one of my coworkers on the way home from work. She was just like, how Gremlins is her favorite show ever made. It's like, yeah, one of the best, encompassing animated shows or something like that. I don't know. So you got to check that out, I guess, if you like Gremlins.
I'll have to seek that out because I do not remember the animated show.
We can talk more about it then because you'll actually know something.
Oh, snap. Right now you know nothing.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I wanted to know about Power Blade 2. Like, did you actually like the way it plays? Like, I see it doesn't have very good ratings. I don't understand why it's so expensive.
I think just because it's rare. It seemed fine. It didn't seem like any big improvement over Power Blade 1, and I like Power Blade 1 just fine. I'll go further. I think Power Blade is actually one of those underappreciated gems, because it's, takes that Mega Man formula, which not a lot of people actually tried to copy back then. Where you can actually pick your levels and you get better weapons as you go through the game. Nice graphics, decent amount of moves and stuff like that. Power Blade 2 just seems like more of the same.
Yeah, but I see your magazine, EGM, gave it a 5.5 out of 10.
Yeah. Well, it was also a different time.
Yeah.
But
they're expecting new things or something. I don't know.
Yeah. But no, so I've got Power Blade 2 and Panic Restaurant, which are two of the rarest NES games, meaning, besides the obvious, there's only 10,000 of these that exist.
Like track and field or whatever.
Yeah. So I was like, Man, that's really kind of tempting.
So are you gonna like get them rated or whatever? Put them in an airtight box?
No. I own my games to play them. I mean, I am thinking about selling off some of my collection just for, like, bill paying purposes, but I'm hesitant to do so just because, you know, like, it's my collection and I've spent a lot of time building it up, but at the same time, and, John, my friend, you know, he was talking about this because he had a break-in, you know, he's like, at some point, even if you're a collector, you just gotta kind of learn to be able to let that stuff go because you might not always have it. And I obviously, you know, they're just things. And, I figure like if I play through them and beat them and have that experience, then I can go ahead and let them go at some point, you know, and be okay with that.
It's nice to have and like to show like your descendants or whatever, but at the same time, you gotta think about like all the different pharaohs and stuff that were buried with all of their things and how none of them, you know, play with them now, right?
Right. And I mean, my idea has always been to probably donate my stuff to a video game archive or something, cause I'm
Right.
not gonna have kids. So, that
Ever
was,
seen it?
you have to have sex to have kids. But yeah, like, I don't know, it's one of those things where, and it's not like I'm trying to make like, I'm not collecting like every game on systems, you know, I'm not one of those collectors. I buy games that I like, or I buy games that, you know, I was interested in that maybe didn't get the best reviews just to see what they were about. You know, like, I'm getting to the point now and we're getting to the end of the generation. It's time to start snapping up, you know, PS3 and Xbox 360 games, you know, on the cheap before you can't get them anymore.
Yeah.
You know, that's why I picked up Disgaea 4 for $20 because, well, one, I didn't even know that existed. And two, it was cheap. So, you know, I went ahead
Yeah, I
and picked
gotta
that up.
pick up that. I want to pick up like the Tales of Graces games. I saw there's like a Tales of Xillia collector's edition coming out. It's like $100 though. I'm like, damn it! Just when I didn't think I would buy another collector's edition. Like, and I'm not even into that series, but this one comes with a statue.
I think we need to have an intervention for your statue addiction, Patrick.
I only have like 2.
Yeah, but you're lusting for so many more.
I know.
But yeah, so
Bad deadly sin.
the first day of my 5-day weekend, you know, that's really all that I got to do. Saturday I went out with my best friend and we, got some sushi and checked out, the new edition, or the new version of Dragon's Lair, which they've been a pretty big comic book and gaming shop in Austin, but apparently with this new location, they are now one of the largest, and I mean largest by square footage, like comic book and gaming stores in the country. This place is massive. I should have taken some pictures to post, but holy crap, like, we were there just a couple weeks ago at the old location before they moved, and I was like, I don't know how they're gonna really, like, put this into a bigger store, because it seems like they're, you know, they have a decent amount of stuff, but not enough to really fill something twice this size. No, I was wrong. It's amazing, and they added up, they threw in a whole bunch more game tables, because that's a big thing at Dragon's Lair, is you can actually go there and reserve tables and play games with friends, or you can do, they'll do board game demonstrations for you, so you can learn how to play them before you buy them.
Wow.
You know, all sorts of stuff like that. Like, it's a really good place to meet, you know, like-minded people if you want to get into gaming and stuff like that. And of course, I mean, like, board gaming and card gaming and stuff like that.
Yeah, real life.
Yeah. Bought my third set of, dice for Pathfinder. I'll admit that I'm developing a problem with that.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so that was fun. But then Sunday didn't do anything other than I bought, and if you have been listening to the enslaved version of Backloggers, I talked a lot about Dragon Ball because I talked a lot about Dragon Ball. I'm gonna have to ask my manager, sir. No, I talked a lot about Dragon Ball because Enslaved is based on Journey to the West, which Dragon Ball is also based on. And that reminded me that I only have season 1 of just good old fashioned Dragon Ball in the anime. So I ordered season 2 and I'm like almost done with that. I just like kind of powered through it on my long weekend because that's really all I felt well enough to do. Like literally last night, like I was up until 7 in the morning just because I was like miserable and sick and coughing and wheezing. But it was just bad enough to where like I didn't really feel like playing a game because I didn't think I was going to be up that late anyway. If I'd known I was going to be up all night long, I would have just like played through half of Bioshock Infinite in one go. Because I was like, what else was I gonna do? But I just, watched some more Dragon Ball and then tried to sleep and then farted around on the internet and then tried to sleep. Just bad times. So, yeah, I'm not too happy, people. Like, I just really haven't been able to do anything I wanted to do. I had all these plans. I haven't picked up my comic books in like 3 weeks and, like, well, it's not a lot. I've really pared down, but still, haven't picked up my comics in 3 weeks and, I think I ordered volume 3 of the IDW Transformers collection, the hardcover, which are really nice. And that's probably waiting for me at Tribe Comics, but I haven't picked it up yet. And yeah, it hasn't been good times. I haven't gotten to see any movies in forever. Like I kind of wanted to go check out the new Evil Dead, and that didn't happen. And I was going to
I wanted to check out the From Up on Poppy Hill movie that came out by Studio Ghibli. Have you heard of this?
I think I heard about it, but I haven't seen anything on it.
Like, I can't believe how few theaters it's actually gone out in, because they have a supposedly more American cast than ever, but like, it's only in 1 theater or 2 theaters in all of the Chicagoland area.
Wow.
Yeah, big step down from Ponyo. But man, I see everything by that place, and it has poppies in it. You know it's going to be psychedelic.
So, right up Patrick Hijack's alley.
Yeah. But I think we glossed over an important issue because you talked about so many cool things, Julian. What are the most expensive games on like this, in this generation, or the most rare games that we should pick up before they go up in price?
Oh, it's so hard to say right now because that doesn't really shake out until later. But coming from a long time gaming retailer perspective, the ones that you would want to look at are the games that didn't sell well, that didn't have any hype going into them to begin with, and they're not going to be good games. That's the thing, is that people think like, oh, well, you know, the first Mass Effect is going to be worth some money because, you know, it was the first Mass Effect. It's like, no, because everybody bought that. The games that you need to look for is the crap like Bullet Witch and Onichinbara Bikini Samurai Squad and Earth Defense Force 2017. Well, Earth Defense Force is actually a pretty good game, but those are the games that didn't get wide release. People didn't talk about them. You know, they weren't critically acclaimed. You know, stuff like, Golden Axe Beast Rider, which I own, will probably be one of those that people are trying to get later on. Oh, you know what might be one of them? This could go either way, but the Burger King games for Xbox 360. Because, I mean, there was a ton of them, but I'm willing to bet that they didn't survive because, you know, they probably got into the hands of a lot of little kids and stuff like that. So if you have all 3 of those, which I do, those might be ones to hang on to for a few years. But, you know, at the same time, you know, you shouldn't be buying video games trying to invest in them and make a profit because so little of that becomes really worth anything. I'm actually surprised that stuff like Final Fantasy VII on the PS1 is going for as much as it is, because there are millions of copies of that game in existence. So, you know, like literally at Gameville, we had mountains of those in our used, section of the PlayStation. So it's like, it's not a rare game by any means. I don't understand. The only reason that it's, I guess, going for so much is that people are holding on to it.
Or maybe because it doesn't have that greatest hits thing on the side.
Well, that too, yeah. I do have, black bands for all of my Final Fantasy PS1 games.
Yeah.
I hated the green greatest hits label. I only have one game that has it on there.
That's funny. I didn't really care. Like, I had the chance to get a Final Fantasy VII Black Band, and I chose not to. I think I was just like, it's $5 more. Why would I want that?
It's an aesthetic thing for me, like for putting them on the shelf. I don't have problems with the red greatest hits label on the PS2, because I think it just looks better. But that neon green just looks so bad on the shelf.
Yeah, it's sort of out of place. It looks kiddie, I guess.
Yeah, and also the discs are like, they're just plain mirror discs instead of like whatever image was on the disc to begin with. So for example, the original disc for Soul Blade, for PS1 had this really nice, like image of the characters like kind of screen printed on there. And then if you get the greatest hits version, it just says Soul Edge or Soul Blade on it. You know, this is a plain disc. So little things like that.
I'm looking at most expensive PS3 games, and you know, Julian, they all pretty much are like the special editions or limited editions. I think it might be a good investment.
For now, yeah. And I will admit that I would love to get my hands on a limited edition version of Mass Effect 1, just because it's Mass Effect and sorry. That game, you know, that BioWare game. But it's just going for way too much money. And I just looked on my Amazon wish list recently because I have the Alan Wake limited edition, and I own Alan Wake, but I want the soundtrack. And it shot up from like $60 to $100. That really pissed me off. I should have bought it when I had the chance.
Man, but it looks like Uncharted 2 Among Thieves Fortune Hunter edition is like $3,700 already.
Oh,
that's insane.
That's somebody just trying to scam someone.
No. It's because there's only 200 copies of it.
Oh, wait. Okay, I know which one you're talking about now. Okay,
that's the one with like the dagger in it. That's crazy.
Okay, that one actually, yeah, that has some merit to it.
That's awesome. I tried to win that and didn't. Yeah, so anything else?
I mean, just stuff like that. You know, I think, obviously JRPGs at some point, like they're always a good investment, especially, since they got less and less prevalent. Like, honestly, some PSP and like DS stuff is probably some stuff to start seeking out, because that's going to be stuff that people are not going to be able to find in, 5-10 years.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Fire Emblem that I have for GBA, it's not the first one, but the second one, it's worth a pretty good amount of money, but not nearly as much as the first game.
How about those Final Fantasy games? They have like Final Fantasy Adventure, Legend 1, 2, and 3.
Not sure about those, but I know that my GBA ports of 4, 5, and 6 are worth quite a bit of coin.
Yeah, I bet.
So, yeah.
Keep it up.
If you should die before you wake.
Can't sleep. Clown will eat me. Can't sleep. Clown will eat me.
Yeah, but so if you don't mind, I'd like to transition to that one little topic I was talking to you about before.
Yeah, we can get to it real quick, because I think I'm getting to the end of my stamina meter.
Well, I think it's important that we talk a bit about the insomnia issue that some of the readers and writers in our blogs were talking about, because I know you had an insomnia blog and Joe Stepp did too. And there were lots of comments about gamers all experiencing that. And I mean, it's a real problem with gamers because we can't stop.
Right.
But I think insomnia happens for a lot of different reasons. I just wanted to say, like, what's helped me a little bit, not only taking like the blue pill, the Town PM, but
oh, okay.
to stop going down the rabbit hole, but also I think like once I started to sleep at a regular time, it was a lot easier. Like before I would like be my own man and, go to sleep at different hours just whenever I felt like it.
Right.
But sort of being like regimented and getting like a solid 8 hours every single day makes me like know my body has to shut down at this time. And so I conditioned myself toward it almost. So that helped a lot. And then like getting back to exercising regularly, it burns a lot of the extra energy. Then you could play games after that even, and you won't be as like hyper.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's definitely something to be said about, shutting off as far as like your technology and stuff like that. Obviously looking at your iPhone in the dark, half an hour before you're going to bed isn't the best way to get ready for bed. Yeah. I've been having a lot of success with this sleep app that I heard about on the Nerdist podcast. It's called,
it's good.
Pizziz. It's really good. And I think I may have mentioned this, or maybe we talked about it off the show, but the announcer, he kind of talks like this, and he's very soothing. And he kind of reminds me of the background voice from Catherine when he tells you about your beer. But the only problem is that it kind of freaks me out because I'm usually out in about 15 minutes or so. And then I start to get really paranoid, like maybe he's going to start programming me about half an hour in. Like, and just start being like, when you wake up and go to work in the morning, you will murder your boss.
Oh man, they're trying to change your dreams.
Yeah.
I didn't hear about that one. I was actually thinking of this one. It's like called Sleep Cycle or something like that. And what you do is you put your phone on your bed next to you and you turn it on. And so it can sort of like feel your vibrations and how you're moving. And based on how much you move, it can tell like what cycle of sleep you're in.
Huh.
So that like when you're trying to wake up, you put like a half-hour window. And it can tell within that half hour when the best minute to wake you up is, when you're like just entering the first stage cycle again right after REM. So it like wakes you up when you won't be that tired, because when you're in REM sleep, your brain, that's when you wake up and your brain's like, oh, I just want to go back to sleep.
Right.
But I think that's like only $1. I haven't gotten it yet. It seems like it would be a really good thing too. Maybe to even like make you remember your memory or your dreams more.
Yeah, I rarely remember them, and if I do, dream, sometimes I don't think I do, but according to Piers Anthony, demons don't dream, so who knows?
And I dream a ton, but like I used to be able to like shift my dreams a little bit and like figure out like cool things that I could do and just like sort of shape what I wanted to happen. And I haven't been doing that as much lately. I've sort of been just like lying back and letting things happen to me. So that's kind of concerning.
Yeah. Yeah, I've only had, 2, lucid dreams, but and they were both about flying and they were both awesome.
Yeah, actually a lot of mine used to be about flying too.
Yeah.
And like, one of them was like getting big enough and like jumping into outer space forever. So it's kind of like flying, but like more so it was just like becoming Godhead or something. That was pretty fun. But I had this one great dream where I was like jumping from rooftop to rooftop, and I was able to like glide down slowly, sort of like a squirrel suit, but I didn't have a squirrel suit on. Awesome.
You must have been playing a lot of Arkham City at the time.
I don't know. But I was definitely a super something.
Have you ever had a video game nightmare?
Yeah. Remember the Killzone multiplayer nightmare I had?
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
That was like recurring, but, once I stopped playing games like religiously like that, and I just set a healthy chunk of time to play them, it hasn't happened.
Yeah, it hasn't happened to me in a long time, but, I remember Doom was my first one. I had a dream that a cacodemon was in my closet and it was trying to get me.
Man, that would be terrible.
Yeah.
As far as dreams go though, I think Waking Life helped me a lot in like figuring out when I'm in a dream. Have you ever seen that?
No.
Oh, you should totally see that movie. It's like Richard Linklater movie. Just like, Through a Glass Darkly.
Or Scanner Darkly?
Yeah, Through a Scanner Darkly. Through a Glass Darkly is an Ingmar Bergman movie. Sorry about that.
Oh no, I've seen Scanner Darkly.
Yeah, it's by the same guy. It's like the same aesthetic, except it's like more thoughtful. More trippy. You should definitely check it out. The last thing about insomnia that I want to say is like a healthy diet actually kind of like changes the way you sleep.
Oh, it does. Yeah.
I know like being gamers and stuff, we like to chow down on like chips and things like that, but like you should totally avoid sugar and sodium at like most costs, and try not to have that much protein either.
Yeah, I mean, when I was doing my juice diet last year and I lost like 50 pounds, I mean, I was sleeping way better. I was actually getting to work early every day, which is unheard of for me. But
awesome.
Since Vegas, I've just been eating like a garbage dumpster. And, that's gonna change soon. Because, well, I mean, this year has been just crappy for me in general. I've had health problems. I haven't been able to walk very well, so that's kept me from the gym. This is like the 3rd time I've been sick this year, and it's only April. But I'm starting DDP yoga, in about a week. Because I ordered it with my tax refund, because it's like $64.99. But I think it's gonna be totally worth it, because it's a workout, it's a cardio workout that I can do it's zero impact. So even if my even if I'm having problems with my ankles like I've been having lately, I don't have to worry about that because you can do it. I mean, there's a guy who lost like 150 pounds and he couldn't walk. And now he can actually run from doing, this yoga program. And of course, diet plays into that as well. But I'm looking forward to getting back in and dropping the pounds, back because, I'm actually back up to where I was at the beginning of last year. And I had, for a brief moment, I was actually thinner than I was when I was in high school. And that felt really good. And then I went to Vegas. Basically, what I've learned is that I can't go on vacation when I'm trying to lose weight. I need to start and keep on going and then not go on vacation for at least like a year or two, to make sure that I'm actually like committed and that I'm not going to like lose my resolve.
Well, I know you can be committed. I don't know. The way I think of eating though is like not that changing to healthy foods is a punishment or something like that. More so, I think of it as I deserve to eat well.
Right.
Like,
yeah. But, I don't mind.
Some of those juices, they cost extra money, but like they have real juice in them. They're not like just watered down concentrate.
Yeah. Or in my case, I make them myself, from actual, fruits and veggies. And it's not that I don't like them. I actually enjoy them quite a bit, but man, I love me some burgers, Patrick. I love me some wings.
Where do you get the burgers? Like I recently have been admittedly eating too much fast food. Like I try to only do it once on the weekend or something, but I know like if you go to the fast food place and you just get like a Whopper, it has like saturated fat for 3 days worth of servings in it.
Yeah. But man, I love me some Whoppers, Patrick.
Yeah.
I love me some Carl's Jr. and some Jack in the Box and some Burger King.
Yeah.
I love really bad Chinese food. And what I mean by that is just like, like fast food Chinese food from like the mall.
Like Panda Express.
Hell yeah. I had that this evening actually. There we go.
Yeah,
I'm a sad panda.
Graduate? Yeah, sad panda. It's pandemonium.
Oh, I think that's the end. I think you just put the kill switch on this podcast. We're not going to get any better than that.
Engage.
Drop the mic. Walk out.
Boom. See ya.
Pipe bomb. All right. Yeah, I think that's actually going to do it for us because
that's good.
I only got 4 hours of sleep and I've only got one more day off before I have to go back to the hellhole that I call work. So, thank you for listening to this episode of Nerds Without Pants, everybody. Definitely go to pixlbit.com and check out all the stuff we've been doing there lately. A bunch of new reviews going up. Angelo has a survey on what we're going to do next for Backloggers Anonymous. Well, after we do System Shock 2, which I'm actually going to be recording the first episode of that with, Angelo and Nick tomorrow. And then that'll be up probably next week.
Wahoo!
Yeah, so that'll be an interesting one. I've never played System Shock. And Patrick, after your really well researched, look into the previous Shock games by Irrational, leading up into BioShock Infinite, I'm daunted because the stuff that you wrote about System Shock 2 scares me. So it'll be an interesting, edition of Backloggers for sure.
You're so kind.
Yeah, it was very good. So check that out. What else is going on?
I should have like some more stuff coming soon. I didn't get to what I thought I was going to get to last week and paint something else because I ran out of yellow and there's yellow in everything. And I haven't gotten to like the Blick store. I have this like pass or $25 free that I got for Christmas from one of the parents of kids I teach. And like, I don't know, I've had something after school every single day or I'll forget about going there. So soon, I promise, I will follow through with this.
Awesome. Check out my review for Disgaea 2 if you haven't had a chance. I had a ton of fun writing it. And I think that it really came out well. Also check out our other podcasts. Of course I mentioned Backloggers, Push Start to Continue, PB and Jason. And, stay tuned to PixlBit for more good stuff. And follow us on Twitter. Patrick.
I'm at some boss.
And I am at Julian _Titus. I've been getting some new followers lately, so.
Get it, girl.
I'm happy for that. Welcome. I think I've been tweeting some relatively interesting stuff lately. I don't know. Maybe. You can tell me.
Oh, come on. Now don't be humble.
I'm always humble. I'm a humble indie bundle. But, yeah, so that's gonna do it for this episode of Nerds Without Pants. Thank you for listening, everybody, and keep it pantsless, Internet. Goodbye.
See?
Says your daddy's touch. Sleep, 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 says the 100 sheep. Peace, 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 may you go in peace. Oh, maybe next time we'll be Henry VIII. Wake up tomorrow and it's under the grave. Open your eyes in a new life again. Oh, maybe next time you'll be given a chance. Hush, hush, hush.
Speaking of ninjas, I heard all the rumors on the internet about Michael Bay's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are false.
Oh, that's good to hear. I kind of figured.
Yeah.
Are they even doing that movie? Like, does that even exist?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess one of the Raphael actor is Alan Rickson. I don't know who he is, but he said that all of the things that we're hearing about Michael Bay's film are just like not true.
At first, I thought you said that the actor for Raphael was Alan Rickman. I was about to get very excited.
That would be hilarious.
Turtle power.
I'm going on my own. That sounded like Sean Connery.
They're interchangeable.
Yeah.